Good afternoon, Transpac race fans. This is Dobbs Davis from Seahorse Magazine giving you the 16 July daily analysis of our 48th race to Hawaii. We'll open up as we do with our yellow brick tracker showing how divisions 7 and 8 are out there on the race course. They started Monday and are making great progress down the track. Just zooming in a little bit here, we'll have a look at some of the features on their tracks. As you can see, they're starting to get lifted. Their courses are starting to converge up with the run line. Speeds are looking excellent. Our current race leaders are the same as yesterday. Marjorie, the Brooklyn Boatyard custom 59-foot catch is still screaming right along. They were averaging a little over 8 knots for the last couple of days. Now they've sped up to over 9 knots, again with the angles changing and the breeze staying fairly consistent. I think that they've probably shifted sails, probably gotten into some of their bigger headsails or even spinnakers, and are still making great progress down the track. So they continue to lead on the leaderboard. Let's see, here's our leaderboard here. So we can see that they are leading overall in ORR scoring from the start of the race, and again making great progress. The VMG on average has been 8.6 knots, but last report they were going over 9. Second place, but leading Division 7 is Patriot, J44. They too are making great progress, inched up a little bit in average speeds. So 215 nautical miles in the last 24 hours, a little bit up from the just over 200 they did in the last 24-hour run. So again, the boat's making great progress down the track. Interesting features here that we see are boats like Alpha Puppy up here, that one design 35, Alex Farrell and his crew of 4. Not quite sure what their strategy is in going this far north. The weather forecast and the weather maps, as we'll see in a moment, do suggest stronger breeze up there. But certainly they're making a big deviation from run line and sailing a lot of extra distance to get up there. So we'll see if that works out for them. Somebody was saying on the dock today, looking at their track, that they're going for the one jibe and in approach. But anyway, we'll see how that works out. This boat down here, smallest boat in the fleet, Fortissimo. They have their track has stabilized a bit, I think, from their huge dive south that they had in the first couple of days. They look like they're doing quite well. 6.5 knots, not bad for a fairly small boat. Their track is starting to converge with the rest of the fleet. The good news about them is the race organizers had not heard anything from them up until today. They had not been doing any position reporting, nor sending any texts or emails. So there was some concern, but again, through the magic of tracking, we knew that they're out there and they're going along just fine. And finally today, they did make contact with Fortissimo. So that's good news. Unfortunately, the sailing rules for this race do dictate that every boat needs to make an attempt to make a position report daily. So they'll get protested for that by the race committee, and they'll have to deal with that at the finish. But depending on the circumstances, there may or may not be any consequence. So anyway, we wish the team on Fortissimo from Japan great luck and Godspeed down this course. Interesting track here on Kokopelli. I just noticed a big northward turn sometime ago. Again, this could have been a sail combination decision for them, some kind of change in strategy. We see that's a pretty significant change of course. When you see things like diving down, and maybe that could have meant they tried their spinnaker, as we can see where the cursor is here, and then maybe decided that wasn't working, put the jib back up, and can only make this angle with a headsail combination rather than spinnaker. So maybe they're not quite at spinnaker angles yet. Anyway, these boats doing quite well. As we reported yesterday, and I'll go back to our leaderboard here, we did have a couple of boats that dropped out of the competition. Picante came back to shore. They had some problems in the race. with some cracking and a little bit of taking on a little water. Apparently there was some kind of electrical fire or something that was dealt with, but was serious enough they felt like they had to return. Also in Division 8, Vivacious returned, and they're safe ashore as well. Now, we'll segue over to what's been happening today. We were just out on the race course on the start for the next group of, here I'll come up to here. Here's our next group of starters. They just started a couple of hours ago. Fantastic breeze out here. Really just picture perfect conditions, postcard conditions, 12 knots of wind, sea breeze. The breeze actually filled a little bit faster than it had on Monday. It may have caught the race committee a little bit because it went right a bit, made the right side of the starting line favored. There was a big bunch of boats at the signal boat end, and at the start, the X flag, the over early flag, went up right away. The sailing instructions actually dictate a 2-minute delay before the race committee will give any broadcast on who's over early. So that gives all the teams time to think about whether or not they were over. Certainly there was a big group there. We saw this on the line. It was really quite apparent. But in the end, the race committee only called one boat back, and that was Relentless, Bill Durant and Jeff Shue's boat. So 2 minutes up the track, they paid the price, had to come back, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about that for a while. Certainly it looked like more than just Relentless were over, but they were maybe the ones that were poked out the farthest. Anyway, we wish them all great luck. They're on a great start now. They're headed toward the west end of Catalina. Let's see, a couple of other notes from today's start I thought were interesting, and that is Resolute, Tim Fuller, and this J125. They are double-handing this race, so just two on board, Resolute, and they look good going out there, had all the sails stacked on deck. I think, look like they'll have a great race, and we wish them luck as well. Let's see. Kazan is a Hawaii-based boat. Certainly the Hawaiian media are very interested to see how they're doing on their race home. They look quite good coming off the start today, so we wish them best of luck as well. Now let's go over to let's see. Oh, another story. Yesterday, those that have been following in the social media or any of the press releases would have seen that Lending Club 2, the 105-foot trimaran that was entered the race to start on Saturday with the other multi-hulls, opted yesterday to not start with them, but to focus on getting to Hawaii in suitable conditions to break a course record. It was a tough call, I'm sure, for them. There's always a debate between race records and course records. They felt like the weather pattern looked the best for setting a course record if they left earlier than the race start on Saturday. So, but they do have their tracker on, so I wanted to bring that up and show everybody on the show here already. And we're just now into about 24 hours into their run. Look at their progress. They're just really screaming along. 31.7 knots. They're already almost up. In fact, I believe they are up and within that lead group. Now, let's see. The lead group, as we show on the tracker, is on a 6-hour delay. I'm not actually sure if this tracker for Lending Club is in real time or also has a delay in on it. It could be real time, actually. So that would place them a little bit further behind the actual positions of the fleet. As we talk about it right now, but certainly in a couple of hours at these kind of closing speeds, they'll be ripping through everybody, and they'll probably in the last bit of the day, they'll see this monstrous trimaran come screaming past them on their way to Hawaii. So 24 hours into it, they certainly look like they're in great pace. I believe the average speed they need to have, and I'm going to misquote this, but I don't think it's much more than 20 knots to break the course record. So certainly at 31.7 knots, they're doing that and more. So we wish the folks on Lending Club, Ryan Braemar and all that team great luck on their record run. Now, going to weather. This is the GFS weather model for a model run that was done today, and this is a projection for very early or late tonight, actually local time, 1200 GMT Friday. So this is what the teams will experience, the divisions 4, 5, and 6 teams that are coming off the coast. Looks like they'll have a good night. These isobaric alignments look good for good pressure. They'll probably enjoy the same fairly fast conditions that the first group held. But as we go forward in time, and actually I'll also just check here with the Euro model. It seems to agree, not any significant difference up in this part of the course. And again, just for reference, this is these little red dots you see here are the Channel Islands, and the islands on the California borderland. Over here, Point Furman, just off here, that little bump in the coast is Palos Verdes Peninsula, and Hawaii over here. So Rum Line is again roughly a line trending this way. The main group of boats are somewhere about a quarter way down the course in this section. So for the next 24 hours, certainly looks like they'll continue to enjoy good breeze. This gap in the isobars here suggests the wind will be lightening up for them before shifting aft. But certainly looks fairly good here. Now this little wiggle and all this in here is a little bit of a worry. The GFS model smooths that out a little bit, but yeah, so it may get a little squirrely for them tonight. We'll see. If we advance forward, though, and go to just about 48 hours, so this will be Friday night, tomorrow night. This is where it starts to get a little bit worrisome. Look at this huge isobaric gap here. GFS model shows this. The Euro model is a little more optimistic, but not much. So lightning pressure for sure, I think, coming up for Friday night. So teams getting off the coast will enjoy a great night tonight, good breeze tomorrow, but starting tomorrow night it might start to get a little bit lighter for everyone. If we advance forward 72 hours, so this would be Saturday evening. Actually, let's come back just a little bit here. We'll go to 60 hours. So this is what the picture looks like according to the Euro model for just about start time, just before start time. Nope, yeah, just before start time on Saturday. You know, northwest breeze coming off the coast, kind of standard stuff, but coming further out here, it's going to look dodgy. The other feature, of course, is what's going on with this thing, this tropical depression that's coming up from Mexico. There's been a lot of talk about this thing. You know, what is it going to do? The Euro model doesn't seem to have it intersect the racetrack in any meaningful way. We will go here to the GFS model, see what it says. It's a little less, as you can see, the contours are drawn a little more liberally. You could interpret that as maybe having an effect on the overall picture here at this stage. If we go forward in time a little bit more, again, based on this modeling, we really don't see it advancing much further north. Now, again, GFS suggests a tightening of the isobars and maybe some compression that could give better breeze. The Euro model also shows this in this vicinity. You know, perhaps this could happen, but anyway, we'll see. The real problem, of course, is all this dead zone over here in the track and how that's going to affect everyone. So let's hope the models are not that dire, that the teams will continue to enjoy good pressure down the track. But right now, for through the weekend, particularly later in the weekend, it might get lighter for everybody out there. So that's our report for today. Please stay tuned into our social media channels, press releases, reports that are being posted on the website for all the latest information. There's a lot of good stuff out there. So for now, I'm going to sign off and give you a report for tomorrow. Thanks again for tuning in for Transpac 48th running of the Race to Honolulu.